So understanding who our consumers are and our buyers are.
Oh, how do we even teach that?
And there's going to be people who will literally hang on the words of what you say.
Yeah.
There's just no harm in terms of testing and learning, right?
Hey everyone, my name's Amanda Buckingham and welcome to our WAI chat, a place where we can just kind of share ideas, have some pretty cool people come and visit us and share knowledge. And the whole point is to inspire our hairdressing industry. So I'm pretty excited to introduce you today to Mr. Kale Panoho. Welcome, Mr. Kale.
Thank you for having me. Glad to be here.
Glad to have you. Now, I'm going to read a few things that Kale does. He's done a lot, and I'm not going to go over all of it because it'll take up all my time. But Kale is the Managing Director of KJ Growth, which is an award-winning growth hacker marketing agency. He's an entrepreneur and a partner of Rugby Bricks and has been featured in Forbes, Inc., Entrepreneur, Microsoft, worked with some amazing companies called Monster Energy, and one of my daughters, which we'll talk about, favourite places to go and visit every day, TikTok. Might get you to do a dance move later, Kale.
We'll wait and see.
So anyway, welcome, Kale. It's lovely to have you. Tell me about KJ Growth. Who are you? What do you do?
Yeah, so for us and who we are at KJ Growth, we focus on digital marketing, which is the concept of obviously just normal marketing practices taken online. So a big portion of us is we like to be a good blend of data and insights. So understanding who our consumers are and our buyers are, and then mixing that with a bit of the psychology that goes behind marketing. And we use that to inform and make decisions around that. And we use a whole ton of tools from Facebook right through to analytics and a bit of data science. So that's where we sit. And it's pretty much been our niche now. This is coming out to year 4 for us soon. So we've been at it for a while, but things are pretty good.
Yeah, it's a pretty amazing skill to have, actually. Kale will laugh. Kale has helped my business, myself and my business partner over the last few years, which I'm very grateful for. But I can tell you now, when I first started, I'm sure these boys used to look at me and go, oh, how do we even teach this? There's just so much to it, isn't there, that we possibly don't know about.
Yeah, I would definitely mirror that sentiment. And it's like I said now with the, and like I've been saying probably for this last sort of 9 weeks since people have been going on, people's digital literacy is now probably starting to equate better to like an actual income, right? And so some of the things that we've seen with where you are now compared to when we started, they're huge leaps and bounds. But I guess the piece out of this is that it's a really good time to either educate yourself in the space, but to start tying it to your business because it'll allow you to make a little bit more money and obviously start actually growing an online presence and attracting customers in the door.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, one of the main reasons I wanted to talk to you was our industry. We're real creative, you know. A lot of the time we don't work on our businesses, but we definitely work in it. And so we take these beautiful photos and these beautiful videos and then we go, what do I do with it? You know, okay, we'll just chuck it on Instagram or we'll chuck it on Facebook. And I now find myself saying to people, what platform do you like to use most? And now I'm going to laugh because when someone told me a few years ago, what platform did you use? I swear they were talking about shoes. Like I just didn't even know what a platform was. I'm like, what? Am I standing on it or what? But it completely makes sense to me now. So Kale, tell me about like our industry being creative. We have some platforms that we can use. I personally see a lot of Instagram and Facebook being used in our industry, which is awesome. But how does that differ? How does each one differ?
Yeah, so I'll go into each part, and this is some of the things. There's obviously Instagram's owned by Facebook, so those two platforms are very tightly linked. And there's a few media giants that are in the space. So Google owns YouTube, which is the other social media platform that you consume a lot of content through. TikTok's a Chinese company, which is the other big one. LinkedIn's owned by Microsoft, and then you've got the Facebook and Instagrams of the world. And for the most part, if you haven't got a business presence across any one of those platforms, they're the best place to start in terms of, I guess, just reach, but also the capability that's built on these platforms. So when I think and talk about this is that Facebook has a huge amount of the largest user base in terms of total users on their platform. So if you think of that from a marketing perspective or a small business owner perspective, you're going to want to try and figure out the platform that's going to have, one, the best amount of sort of reach and marketing capability, and two, what are the tools that you can use to do that. So obviously with Facebook having the most users, it also has the other side of that, which is Instagram, which you can then advertise across the two platforms. So Facebook typically for itself is just usually a social profile platform where people share a whole range of content, versus Instagram, which is just the picture content. But the cool part and the piece that for most people don't know or don't do well is that once you advertise on one platform, you can use it to advertise across both. And that's, I think, a key differentiating starting point. And like I said this before we jumped on, is that we're going to go through a little bit of experiment of me teaching you how to do it for local businesses as well.
I'm a bit nervous. Kale knows this because, yeah. Honestly, when I first learned a lot of what Kale's talking about, it can be quite overwhelming and takes you a bit of time to understand the right way, and there probably isn't a right way, to be honest, but to do things that give you, like you say, the reach, drop down into, for me, they drop down to be a client. It's not just about them liking what I'm putting up. It's about bringing them to my shop or to my website or whatever it might be. And that, would you say, is probably another thing to think about? What are you putting up?
So I'll go through what a normal digital journey is and what that looks like. So social media, if you think of it as a whole, is still owned by another company, right? When you own your own website, though, the people who visit that website, you can then hopefully capture that traffic, whether that's when you've seen people do the email pop-ups, like sign up to my newsletter to get 5% off. Essentially, once you've done that, you're taking the traffic away from that big platform, which is Facebook or Instagram, which you would normally typically have to pay to get in front of, or do really great content marketing, which is just the normal posting of stuff, versus once someone's in your email list, that means you can then send a direct message to them anytime you want, right? Via your newsletter or anything else. And for salons and people who are starting out on this, it's the part of, one, having a good social media presence, but two, understanding that that's not the starting point, and the metrics and things that I call vanity metrics, like likes and comments, don't always equate into revenue in your business, right? And so those key things for what you'll see with savvy salon owners or even savvy small businesses is that link in bio on the top of your Instagram page where you can link out to somewhere. You want to link that back to your own website. And then when people get there, have some way to capture some other form of their information, whether that's their phone number or their email, by creating an offering. And then that way you always own that piece of contact information. Because let's say Instagram or Facebook falls over one day, or they just stop allowing you to post, some other error, you lose your account login information, all those things, you will always own that piece of information once someone's signed up for your mailing list or some other way that you want to capture that data.
Yeah, perfect. Because I think that is something that a lot of us just don't realise, that's the opportunity that can come from it. Yeah,
and that's it. And I think that the key piece is that those for most people is that, like, oh, I got lots of likes, or hey, I'm going to boost this post to this many people and it'll reach this many people. Yep, those are all good things. But if you're boosting your post and you don't know who it's being boosted to, then it may as well be saying, hey, I'm going to go show the picture of someone that's for us at Rugby Bricks. Hey, this is how to do a rugby pass to the 80-year-old person who has never played rugby in their life and loves chess, right? If you don't know who you're giving your social media ads or where you're spending or pushing that stuff to, and you're trying to use those platforms for the first time without education, you've got a chance of spending money on people who aren't your buyers.
Yeah, good advice. And that, if I take a step back too, that would be, if you want to seriously spend some time in social media or with marketing, is to not only know who your audience is, but who you are and who you want to attract, and I guess your theme. Yeah.
And this is a key part of what I would say to people when they get into this, is that it's really, really easy to think that when you're in any form of marketing or business, that you think if everyone's your customer, then like the other part of this, no one's your customer, right? Because if you try and target everybody, you just can't give good advice to everyone. But if you change your targeting messaging to a select group of people, then you've got a much better penetration rate of them seeing that. So the key piece that I usually start with when I'm people and they're just learning about this is I'll ask them, okay, who is your target customer? How old are they? What are the type of magazines they read? What are the type of social activities would they be doing? Who are the type of people would they follow on social media? What are the types of things that you would expect them to do for fun? And what do they look like and where do they live, right? And if you can ask those lists of questions and you're saying that and you've got that target person, then that gives you that starting point to say, okay, cool, I want to curate my content to people just like that.
Yeah, good point. Because it is, but sometimes you don't. Like I was saying earlier, you just put things out there, but it might not be the right thing for what you're trying to bring them into.
Yeah, and that's it. And I think that the starting point is for most people is that they'll sort of say, oh, I think my person looks like this. But like they either don't know or they just haven't tried to figure out how to get that person in. But the starting point, and this is those key things here, is that like for most business owners, or some of the ones that I know anyway, the small businesses, is they work a lot in their businesses and they don't get to work on their businesses. And so a quick way to look at this, there's a cool resource out there, which is called Udemy, udemy.com. Basically what you can do is you can go on and there's a course which is called 12-in-1 Digital Marketing Course. You can pick that up for $19.99. So really, really cheap, $20. And it's by a guy called, I think, Rob Percival. And I'll give you the link at the end of this. But
yeah, that'd be cool.
Yeah, it's a really cheap way to get a good, quick digital literacy and start getting a little bit more understanding on this front too.
Yeah, no, that would be great. I think we're also, like you say, spending that bit of time outside your business, just an hour every now and again to learn these things, because I think that the growth that can come from just being more consistent with your posting and having more thought go into it will make a huge difference. I do know that for our own businesses, if we really, sometimes we get lazy, but when we actually really tune in and to the right demographic, the right audience, post the right things at the right time, and all those things that come into it, you can see the growth. And then when we don't take the time, it goes straight back down.
Yeah, and that's it. I think that the key thing of this is that if you want to remove yourself from your business and the way that you want to do it and be able to hire other staff and that sort of thing, is that marketing becomes the tool to remove yourself. Because if you've got enough consistent people coming in where you can employ someone, and you look at your time and say, okay, cool, it's going to cost me $25 to employ someone, versus if I was to hire someone else to do or another hairdresser, for example, it might cost me, I don't know, $30 an hour, $50, whatever it looks like that you're going to pay as a salon owner, versus if I want to hire a marketing person, that might cost me $60 to $100 an hour. You've got to make that way up of that cost. And so is it worth me educating myself to start learning this marketing stuff to work on my business, so I can then start to get more customers for each of my hairdressers that are within there as well? Yeah. And that's that time trade-off that a lot of people don't think of.
No, that's a really good way of looking at it as well. Kale, when you are posting, how important is it to post consistently? Like, how many posts should we do a week? Is there a kind of rule of thumb for Facebook and Instagram?
Yeah, so this is one of those things that there's nice rules and that sort of stuff for what you'll look at and what you want to do. But the key thing is that I'll give people as the baseline. Post once a day. And the best way to do that is plan out what you want to post before the week starts, right? And the reason being for this is that, one, if you've got a plan and you're going to follow it, it becomes much harder to post every day when you're trying to think of new stuff as you're going, versus a content plan that's targeted around that personal customer that we just said first. So once a day, in the fact that your newsfeed is determined algorithmically by what people like. And when I say algorithmically, it just means there's a bit of machine learning going on in the background behind these platforms, where that's data and artificial intelligence saying, hey, I think this post performs well and it feels this. And so if you post once a day, you've got a better chance to be consistently fill up those spots than for people to engage with you, right? The more consistently you do that, the more likely, if more people like it, the more chance you're going to start being shown more often to people who look like that. And so that's that key piece of once a day. And that's and again, across the two platforms, you want to sort of, Facebook's better, both are good right now for video, but ideally, if you want to use Instagram, pictures, Facebook, video.
Yeah, cool. Now, I actually have someone that schedules my posts for me, so I'm very spoiled. So I don't do it much anymore, but just refresh me. Does Facebook and Instagram have their own inbuilt schedule? Inbuilt, scheduling software? Yep. Or
so,
outsource that?
Yeah, there's a cool tool now that they've released called Creator Studio, which is a free tool, and it allows you to batch or just upload more of your content beforehand. So that's one where if you get starting to have an understanding of what your data and insights are, when you post on these, you're going to start to see the things like how many seconds people viewed your videos for, what was the audience of the people that viewed your content, what was the average engagement rate, what was the reach, which is how many unique people saw that, so how many accounts. And then the other one too, you'll see things like impressions, which is basically how many times it's just been seen on the platform, and reach is how many unique accounts saw it. And then the other part, you'll get to see all those views. So those tools there, you can use that for Instagram and Facebook, and they're the ones I'd recommend you use. But basically, plan and schedule on the front part of that, and then use some other things on that other side of it too.
Yeah, cool. That's great. Good place to start, because I think once you have a bit of a play and you start to see those stats come through, it's quite rewarding because you can actually see that there's more happening than just likes.
Yeah, 100%. And that's another one, right? Because, someone may like it, but it could be just the same person repeatedly liking it. And you're hopefully, what social media does allow you to do is reach people who may not have seen you previously to then find and like your content.
I'm laughing because when we first started doing something a wee while ago, my daughter was like, Mum, you got like 5 views already and it's only been up for like 10 minutes. And it was like my mum, my brother. And I was like, I can't really count, but that's great because at least it looks like it's worth viewing.
Yeah, and this is the other side of it too. The piece that and the part that I was going to take you through and what we're going to do is yes, it's great to have people view your content, but the proliferation of it, there's so much right now that people are using. And one of the things that you guys would have heard too is in the term, anyone who's done this, is influencer marketing.
Yes.
So what I'm going to do is, and I'll walk you through this, is a quick way how to use influencer marketing, literally on Instagram right now. So what I was thinking of at the start of this is bring up your Instagram. So just open it up. And so you'll have your normal home screen, so just like mine. And hopefully this will be, we can work through it and I'll show you doing. It's okay.
Okay.
Good. You there?
Yep.
Cool. So for local salons, and this is the quickest and sort of best way you can do this for getting a lot of good traffic back to your own page, is head down to the bottom of the search. So just the search icon should come up with what this is called your explore page.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to bring yours up to Amanda.
You're like,
nice. Yep.
Yep.
Nice. And so up the top, you'll see the little search bar. Once you go into that, you'll tap on that, and then to your right, you'll see places up the top. And so what you want to do is, if you're a salon owner and you're working here, that's fine. You're a little bit blurry, but it's okay. You go to places, and then what we want to do is, if you work here in Dunedin, I'm just going to use Dunedin as my first example. Go to tap on that, as in just search in it, and go Dunedin, New Zealand. And what you're going to get here, and the key piece of this is how people can leverage this, is you're going to see the top performing posts, right? And in here, all the most recent. What'd you find?
Just lots of younger people.
Yeah. Yeah. And this is the part where I'm going to say you're going to actually tap and use these people as your influencers or as marketing schedule, right? So in that top post, you'll go through and you'll be able to find who is like your top performer. What you want to do is tap on the first post.
Yeah.
And then what you want to do is that it'll be some young person, and ideally if it's a female,
yeah,
jump to her account and then just have a look and see how many followers she has.
Oh, she's pretty good.
What has she got?
She's got 4,327.
Perfect. So one of the things you want to start using here, right, and this is it here, is you can say, hey, send this person a message and say, look, I'd love to give you a bit of a cut or color. And you can use this person and say, can you share this on your story and your Instagram and tag us in exchange for the product itself?
Yeah.
And so this is how you use local influencer marketing, because what you can do is then trade a haircut for basically getting someone else. Hi, Leah.
Hi, Leah.
An interview with Amanda on a podcast. Thanks. And we just got some rugby bricks returns.
Oh, nice.
Even better.
Yeah.
That's not right. What we want to do, and you go from there, is you can now use these people who have come in, and you can actually start using influencers like that, because one, they're in your region, but two,
this is good.
Yeah,
this is really good.
Actually, it won't cost you much money to use them at all, right? Because if you say, hey, I'll just give you a free cut, whatever the cost of a Salon person is, then you can start using them, get them to tag you and also share on their story. And you can agree, hey, look, if you do 3 posts of like the haircut that we did and your stories, tag us. That is a really rapid way to grow that. And if you do that each week, you'll not only get that person, but you'll get their audience as well.
Yeah. Good tip, mate. And that's easy. It's so nice and easy.
Yeah, and it's a really fast way that people aren't doing, because a lot of people, when they think of influencer marketing, they'll think, oh, it needs to be a person who's got a lot of followers.
Yeah.
Anyone who lives in a local sphere has influence, right? Because if you live in Dunedin, and it's the same thing as where I jumped on with you, is that if you said to me, Kale, found a book that I love, I'm buying, you're telling me, look, this is it, I trust you already, so I'm going to go buy that product. And it's the same thing for the people who follow you, right? The people who see your stuff, the reason they already see you is because they know, like, and trust you. And each of us, whether you're an influencer with 2,000 followers versus 5,000 followers, is the fact that you're going to have some form of influence, and there's going to be people who will literally hang on the words of what you say.
Yeah.
So you're just using their know, like, and trust factor.
Yeah, and I just tick, because that whole community build is huge. Like, it's massive.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's it, because people will think of the local level of doing this is that, yeah, it may cost you, and you can think of this, okay, it might cost me an hour of my time. That's $50 I'm spending on marketing. But you're also getting that immediate part of, like, this person will then go tell other people, but I'll get it shared across my story and my Instagrams. And that's how you grow your stuff locally really, really well, but also get better local customers.
Yeah. Yeah. Good work, mate. That's going to be the winner of the day, I reckon.
Yeah. I hope so, because it's something I've thought about a lot before coming on for this one. And it's definitely a very quick way to do it. Yeah.
And it was really nice for you to make that really simple and quite interactive, because we are very tactile people, like if I throw a whole lot of, as you know, if you throw a whole lot of documents at me and a whole lot of word process books, whatever, I'm just going to go, oh. But if it's something really practical and I can come back and look at it again and do that, I'll do it. Mm-hmm. So yeah, that's really good. Look, I could talk to you for hours about all sorts of different things that we could do, but I won't, because I think what we've got is some really good starters, some really good points. People that are using these tools already, can advance from there. And look, I've been, semi-involved in doing a lot of posting and trying to build my community, and that's something I did not know. So it's awesome. Yeah.
Yeah,
and
good.
I would I kind of want to congratulate you too on your kind of help with startups, because you're very good at explaining and to a very simple way of helping people, which is great. So I'd love to also share, I know not necessarily KJ Growth, I know, but we will have a couple of links that potentially people can get some help from.
Yep. Yeah. And so, yeah, absolutely. So one of the other things that we've got, which is BrightFire, which is just another Kiwi business community, brightfire.co.nz, and it's a community that we're just helping small business owners become more digitally literate, but also just how to generate more business.
Yeah.
And so one of the key things for that is that's the place where we're building that, but also for someone who's literally just learning how to get online versus, hey, I'm doing pretty well in business, but I need another new tool to build on. That's what we're trying to foster in here. So we're getting a good mix of people who will be similar to my level, right through to your level, or even right down before that, down to the very, very beginner level too. So that'll be there. And then
great tool, actually. I jumped on yesterday and had a wee look, and there is times where we don't often have the resources around us. We don't have a person that we know that's skilled in that area of business or whatever it might be that you're working on. And so being able to ask that question and having resources given to you by people who know a bit more is such a great tool. I congratulate you on that. It's very awesome. And the other tool that I'm about to, well, not me, I've given it this task to my marketing assistant, Georgia, as I've just signed her up to your how to create viral videos with TikTok. So
nice.
I look forward to using TikTok for business. Now, I won't go into this because it's probably another half an hour of our conversation. But just reassure us, Kale, that we don't have to dance when we're doing TikToks, do we?
No. But anyone out there who is looking for people to follow, and whether or not you have to be a 15-year-old something to do well on TikTok, there's a great guy out there who's some of the accounts. There's the insurance guy. So if you're someone who wants to look up like what serious, even just moderate, entertaining content looks like in an industry that you don't think would thrive very well on TikTok, take a look at that bloke, because he's not dancing. Sometimes he is, but for the most part, he's sharing content that's relatively useful, but still fits within the platform.
Well, when I look at it, like I said, when we are creatives, right, we're always using our hands and we're always doing things. So I think it's an amazing platform to be educating on, like just obviously no voice, right, but just that visual of doing something and being able to transfer that into knowledge, I think will be really good for our industry. So I'm going to give it a crack. Well, not me.
No. Well, and this is it too. And I think one of the other things I would pass on to other people out there now is that there's just no harm in terms of testing and learning, right? Everyone at the moment is going through the same phase of trying to get online. And the one thing that I think stops a lot of people or stops them from starting is like fear of actually getting through and getting on and just having a crack because they think it's got to be perfect. And in all honesty, it just never happens. You're never going to get the perfect shot. You're never going to get the best piece of content. And you're much better off starting, learning as you go, and perfecting along the way is waiting to get perfect when you start.
You taught me this. It took me about a year to feel comfortable in being in a camera. And it wasn't because I worried about what I looked like or anything like that. It was simply like, what if I say something wrong? What if I mumble my words, or I say the wrong word, or anything? That sort of stuff comes into my head. And I remember you said to me, Amanda, it's not about you. It's about what you're presenting and what you're getting across. And the minute I changed my mindset to go, it's not about me, it's about creating and sharing, then I got better. And now, honestly, I don't give a shit. Sometimes I'm just like, if I swear or I say something wrong, oh well.
Yeah, I mean, you look at a clear example, right? Like, you just got a whole box of returns and a pissed off girlfriend upstairs who's like, well, you just had like 50 T's returned. When are you going to sort that out? So like, I think, it's like I said, like just starting and actually being and aiming to give something useful to people is far more important than worrying about getting it perfect the first time, because ultimately if you're trying for that, you'll just never get it right and it'll stop you from starting.
Yeah, I totally agree. I felt that for a long time. Thank you, sir. You have been awesome.
Look, it's been a pleasure, and I do hope that like at least some of the tools that I've mentioned in here are able to help. But look, for anyone who does need help or wants to have a chat, I am happy to have a yarn or get in touch. I think that in my Instagram it's just my name, Kale Panaho, but for the most part, get in touch with you, Amanda, if someone needs some help, and more than happy to have a yarn and point them in the right direction.
Awesome. Thanks, Kale. I'll put all those tools up as well.
Awesome.
Enjoy your evening. Take care.
Ka kite.
Bye.